Explanation in vernacular writing for spring couplets for the year of Jia Chen, 2024. 11. With a prescient understanding preceding all the changes, the subtle divine command direct inevitable transformation and retreat. Conform and comprehend the will of heaven early on, before the destined timing begins its course. Give your all, exert every effort in doing what needs to be done. Those who cultivate the Tao should be individuals with foresight, as expressed by Mencius, that they who first foresee should instruct those who are later known, and those who first apprehend principles should instruct those who are slower to do so. Since we are the ones that receive the transmission of Tao first, how can we lack foresight? According to the principle of unlocking the heavenly portal, allowing the true Dharma to flow, we should connect with God, yet the veil of awareness is controlled by God, not by us humans. Once our heavenly portal is unlocked, how much the veil of awareness will lift depends on our efforts, dedication, and the depth of our sincerity. Every Tao receiver is a son of Holy Trinity, possessing the qualification to become a sage. It is natural to have foresight and insight. It is not something we actively seek, but rather something God allows us to know. When the veil of awareness is lifted open, understanding follows. However, in our current state, we may choose not to see, not to know, and even doubt God's intentions. This is due to the stubbornness, attachments, and obstacles of the human mind, which obscure and contaminate the veil of awareness. Otherwise, on the first day of receiving Tao, the veil of awareness would naturally open to some extent. This is quite evident abroad, but it seems less apparent in Taiwan. Many seekers abroad, on their first day of receiving Tao, often experience and perceive things, which is the veil of awareness. Otherwise, can the new Tao Chen really see these things normally? Of course not the entire spectrum, just a part of it. Nevertheless, it's okay. One can share what one has observed because only the part we have seen can be articulated. This situation is common abroad, whereas in the East, due to the rigidity of individual perceptions, it tends to be blocked, preventing the proper functioning of foresight, all due to attachments. Therefore, in terms of the prescient understanding and divine command within the Tao field, since the year 2002 when God commanded execute the merit evaluation of the frigid December, in accordance with the biblical saying, judgment begins with the house of God. Where is the house of God? We all know that the Tao field is the house of God. Among all the Tao fields, which one does God value the most? Which one has the most sacred teachings? This proves that we are the house of God, and judgment begins with Sing Yi. Do other units truly have immortals and Buddhas to pass judgment like us? Is there judgment? There probably is, but immortals and Buddhas don't necessarily appear in person to pass judgment. The decisions on whose decree is revoked, suspended, reinstated or regained, we can discern this from the state of Tao affairs. We must have the sensitivity of foresight. Before people in the world are aware, we should be aware. Before destiny, energy, moves, we should have a sense. This is called foresight. Tao should be ahead of the situation. If it is behind the situation, can it be called Tao? The purpose of learning Tao, cultivating Tao and practicing Tao is to understand the principles and the prevailing order of heavens. Then, we should act in accordance with the principles of heaven. Since it is the prevailing order of heavens, it is definitely ahead of the situation. How can the prevailing order of heaven be behind the situation? After the prevailing order of heaven, there is Qi, energy. After Qi changes, there are numbers, fate, and after numbers manifest, there are signs. The sequence is like this, and Tao is before the prevailing order of heaven. The Great Learning says, be cautious about the hidden and subtle aspects regarding matters of the heart, and prevent evil thought by stopping its motivating impulse. What is subtle? Between motion and stillness, there exists the first commandment, the will of God. So, the prevailing order of heaven acts in accordance with the will of heaven. When it manifests, it is the heavenly timing, and in its operation, there must be the will of heaven because the heavenly timing is the realization and manifestation of the will of heaven. After heavenly timing appears, the most obvious thing is the progression of Tao, and then it is presented by those who cultivate Tao. From the movement of Tao, we understand the will of heaven and quickly come to follow the will of heaven. However, because people in the world do not know, it creates the situation and various circumstances in the world. This is all due to humans' ignorance of the will of heaven and the heavenly timing. The chaos in the world is for this reason. If we can truly understand the will of heaven, follow heavenly timing, is it still possible to have such a situation? It will definitely dispel many calamities and save many people. If in the process, there is a lack of understanding or even disobey the will of heaven, then it will be disastrous. People will die, and the Tao field will perish. This is how it will go, leading to a situation of collapse into the moat. Therefore, we need to be ahead of the situation and follow the will of God. Although the merit evaluation of the frigid December in 2002 was proclaimed by Holy Mother, and followed by Holy Mother's teaching in 2003 that she told us, heaven's judgment is after the trial. She was deeply concerned that we might not understand, thinking that the merit evaluation of the frigid December is the judgment of God. It is only a beginning, from the start of God's family but not truly God's judgment. The merit evaluation of the frigid December is an observable phenomenon. Shizun and Shimu, Guan Sheng Di Jun, Chun Yang Di Jun, and Nan Hai Gu Fo all sit in judgment in front of the altar. Standing below are Zhen Dian Yuan Shui, Zhen Dian Zhang Jun, Zhao Hua Pusa, and Wu Chan Shixiang. Since Guan Sheng Di Jun and Chun Yang Di Jun are the military and civil chief law marshal respectively, and also the left and right prime ministers of Holy Mother, represent her in making announcements. Some announcements are made by Shizun, while some by Guan Sheng Di Jun or Chun Yang Di Jun. It wasn't until the year 2003 that Holy Mother came to announce heaven's judgment is after the trial. Therefore, the judgment of God refers to the judgment after the initial trial, which is truly the judgment of God. From the merit evaluation of the frigid December in 2002 to the year 2022, it has been 20 years, and the judgment of God has also come to a conclusion. Although the period from 2003 to 2022 are years for judgment, during this time, no one will be wronged. God wants to personally observe how we behave in the world before passing judgment and dispensing retribution. The judgment of 2022 is almost over, and the years following, 2023, 2024, and 2025, will be years of retribution, and many things are about to happen. Although God may seem unfeeling, He is profoundly compassionate. As we carry on and conduct ourselves in this way, God's execution may not be very active. Before the beginning of autumn and the beginning of winter, we may not feel the retribution too obviously, but now it is the end of the year, and we must seize the time. So, what comes to mind when we talk about transformation and retreat in terms of rations? From the perspectives of economics and finance, what will happen once the real estate market collapses and banks fail? The current inflation is very evident, leading to the devaluation of currency. This retreat carries the meaning and signs of this situation, which will become even more apparent next year. Holy Mother has long said, red and green paper currency may disappear almost completely, and finance and economics will rely solely on data. The time has come, and this is the situation of transformation and retreat. Of course, Retreat is also a kind of transformation, especially in today's digital era. It is uncertain how things will evolve, including constant modifications to policies to align with the changing environment. Politics, finance, economics. People still need to survive, and it's not possible to completely eliminate economics and finance. It will just transform into another form. In short, there will be a reduction in material desires. We should not indulge in past consumption, enjoyment, and play, thinking that this is a life of pleasure. This is why the word retreat is used. In the evolution of this situation, it is crucial to understand the opportune moment, knowing to move forward and retreat accordingly, but not to escape and recoil. Comprehend the heavenly timing and the movement of Tao and the prevailing of changes. We are in this situation, and we must clearly see what needs advancement and what requires retreat. This is a very important key point, especially during the time of the year of Gui Mao. We, as one with foresight, must reduce our desires. We should strive harder to fulfill our missions and responsibilities. Now that we know, how can we not act on it? For things no need to waste should not be waste. That is the meaning of this statement. We need to comprehend the will of heaven even earlier, to know it before the mundane people, and to act quickly before everyone else is aware. This means being ahead of the solar terms and seasonal changes, known as recognize the opportune moment. When the time comes, we must recognize it and act accordingly. Before the energy changes, we must comprehend the will of heaven. Once heavenly timing begins to operate, we should seize the opportunity to do what needs to be done without hesitation. It involves being focused, putting forth our best effort, and using all our mental and physical resources. This is why Shizun says, it is worthwhile to grit our teeth. As the saying goes, waiting for 100 generations for the appearance of sages, the sage will not be lost. What have we been waiting for during these 3,000 years? We have been waiting for this specific period, and now that the time has truly arrived, we must rush forward. Otherwise, once the time has passed, it will be useless to try to do anything. After this year and the next, until the year 2025, there won't be much we can do because we will be too far behind. If the red horse and scarlet goat calamity comes again, it will be even more challenging to overcome. This is the meaning of early understanding and agreement with Chen and Mao.